Okay, I just got done watching this video, and I want to first say that it's very sad that things like this happen in the world. It's pretty widespread, and it's hard to see people suffer, especially the children. And I made this video comment because I have opinions about this, and I'm sure a lot of you don't care, but I'm the kind of guy that feels the need to get stuff out. Can't help it, so I apologize for that. I have opinions that I have to say, and I don't want people to feel like I'm only saying the things I'm saying because I can remain anonymous. This way you can see my face and you know that I mean what I have to say. First, let me start off by saying that it kind of bothers me when people say Americans disgust me, you're fat, waste food, this and that. I've been through Germany, I've been through Ireland, I live in Japan now, I've been to the Middle East. People everywhere waste food. There's McDonald's in all of these countries, and they stuff their faces. And there's Middle Eastern countries I've been to where people drive Mercedes and BMWs, so it's not just Americans. It's definitely not just Americans. I was looking at a website, and if you have time, you should check it out. It's called globalissues.org. It's got a lot of interesting facts and statistics. But right now, I'm looking at a chart that's showing the amount of foreign aid given by countries, and it's broken down into different ways to look at it. And I'm sure people will use certain graphs to make it look like the U.S. doesn't give a lot of money. If you look at it this way or that way, per this, per that, If you look at it the way this chart looks at it, which is just flat out the exact amount of dollars given total period, the U.S. gives a lot more than any other country. Twice as much as Japan, almost 3 times as much as the UK, France, and Germany, 5 times as much as the Netherlands and Italy, 9 times as much as Canada, Sweden, and Spain, and then there's a list of other countries, and they give a little bit less than that. So we're not selfish in that respect, because we're giving a fair share of money to try to help out. We gave $19 billion in debt relief to Iraq and Nigeria. Nigeria being one of the countries that we probably saw in this video. We spent $2.2 billion in tsunami relief, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. And yet people say we're selfish and we don't do our fair share, but that's okay, because in my opinion it doesn't matter how much money we give. It's not really going to make a difference, because that's not the solution. And here's why I think that money and food are not the solution. First of all, let me get into the tsunami relief, as well as the earthquake that happened in Pakistan about, I don't know, almost a year ago actually. Yeah. I'm in the military. I think I've mentioned that in one of my other videos. In the Navy, hospital corpsmen. That's what the Navy calls its medics. When an earthquake happened, when the tsunamis happened, the U.S. military sent help. We spent a lot of money in transporting materials, medical goods, medicines, personnel over there, as well as a lot of money in maintaining personnel, feeding us, and transportation and all that kind of stuff. One thing that we noticed was that we were there, we wanted to help. The people were willing to accept our help, but the government was a different story. The government of those countries, they, I don't know if it's pride, if they have the need to show that they're strong, that they can stand on their own, or what it is, but they really seem to rush us out. Pakistan, they were trying to rush us out, but we were willing to, not willing, but able to stay for 3 months and help out a lot of people. So even if you're willing to help out, a lot of the time the governments of these countries will just stop you. It's not that you don't want to, it's just you can't. And a lot of these countries, especially in Africa, are run by dictators and warlords and whatnot. They're definitely not going to let you help them. I mean, you can send money, you can send food, and what's going to happen is just going to go to them, not to the people. How are we helping? By sending more and more money, by asking the United States and the UN to send more money. The only thing we're doing is making the bad guys richer. You know, now they can buy more weapons. Now they can hire more mercenaries, more people to kill. Now they can build more palaces or whatever it is that they like to build over there. You know, it's kind of like if you've seen the movie, it's a Nicolas Cage movie, where he sells weapons. I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. It came out a little while ago, and you know, he sells weapons to a warlord and he's rich. That's exactly what it is in real life. You know, so let's stop sending money because we're not helping. Now, there's the other way that we supposedly can help, which is sending food. And you know, I don't feel bad about being American. I don't feel bad about eating and stuff in my face, because I think that if we stopped, if we as Americans came together and said, let's stop doing that, let's eat healthy, let's just eat what we need, then all the food that we have would go bad and just be rotten. Well, then we would say, hey, let's send it to Africa and feed all those people. They could use our food, right? We send it over. What happens? I just said, you know, they have warlords and dictators. They intercept it, and it just goes bad, and it's rotten food over there instead of here, instead of in our countries. These people force themselves into power. They're ruthless and they're smart, and they are going to do what it takes to stay in power. If you feed these people, then yes, some people will say, you know, you fed us, we love you for it, we want you to lead us. But a lot of people will think, yeah, you fed us, but you're still evil. You killed my family, you killed my neighbors, your men raped, pillaged, and burned. You know, you need to be killed, or you know, we need to rebel against you. Warlords are not going to feed people that potentially could turn on them. It's a lot easier to oppress people when they're starving and weak than when they're healthy and strong. A good example of this is from North Korea. There's a group called, I think it's called Youth for Freedom. They're North Koreans that escaped North Korea. They had to escape because they were taping things they weren't supposed to tape. They don't have the freedoms that we do in our countries. There's a specific scene that I'm thinking of in a market. Everyone who goes to a market goes for profit. They sell something for profit. Well, the problem was they zoomed in on, I think, what do you call them, sacks or bags or whatever, rice, that had the UN markings on them. They were taken to North Korea by the UN to feed starving people, to feed hungry people. They were intercepted by the government and eventually made their way to the market to be sold for profit. So by sending food, we're still making the bad guys richer and not helping the starving people. And I can understand where some of you guys are coming from. I mean, but I think that we need to face reality, and sometimes that's very, very hard. And in this case, in my view, reality is that we're doing the things we're doing, sending money, sending food, because it makes us feel better. It makes us feel like we're actually doing something. It makes us feel like we care, maybe even a little bit less guilty. But we're not really helping. We should feel guilty. The only way that I think we can help in some countries is political pressure. Write your Senate, write your congressman. Make sure you say that you don't think money will help. You know, that's not what we're asking for. We're asking for political pressure on these people to actually help out their citizens. But you can't help everybody out. You know, unless we go out to Africa and start a war with every warlord and dictator, that's not going to happen. You can't help everybody out. That's just reality. It sucks to say that, but you know, that's my view on it. And if you have statistics or examples that are different than my own, or that contradict anything I've said, please send them my way. I'd like to see them. I'd like to see both views, and maybe you'll change my mind. And hopefully, you know, this will start a discussion aside from the immature, silly, racist ones that have been going on in the comment boxes. Thank you.